Greetings from Merry Meeples. We just got back from Origins, well, a few days ago by the time we're recording this. That was in Columbus, Ohio. If you're not aware, Origins Game Fair is a 5-day board gaming convention in the previously mentioned Columbus, Ohio.
Ohio.
OH?
Ohio.
Anyways, so we want to share kind of our experience and how it was there. We are going to show you our board game haul that we got, and that's going to be a sneak peek into a lot of stuff that we're going to be covering here on the channel. And we're going to wrap it up with the food. Speaking of food, just so you know, we are going to be trying the Swindler's Sauce from Thunderworks Games. Let's get that right side. So this is a jalapeno hot sauce inspired by Emerald Skulls. So that's something we're going to be trying, and we're going to be trying this Concord Grape Kitty Paw Fruit Seltzer, which we are going to open and taste right after this break. All right, so here we are with our Kitty Paw Fruit Seltzers Concord Grape. Are you going to open yours?
Sure.
So if you're not aware, we did this 2 years ago where I went to Origins, came back with stuff, and we tried things. And we actually had tried Kitty Paw back then, and that was the Key Lime Guava. So now we are with the Concord Grape. You can, come on.
I didn't want it to splash.
It'll be fine. All righty, so now it's got that good grapes. Cheers.
Cheers.
I'd say okay. I think I'd like it a little bit sweeter, a little bit more grapey.
Yeah, to me, it's good. I can drink it, and I'm not that big of a huge alcohol fan. But to me, it kind of tastes like watered down grape juice.
Yeah, it definitely didn't seem like the one as heavy with the grape as some of the grape seltzers we've had. Like Penrose Brewery in St. Charles, they had like one of the best grape seltzers. That one basically tasted just like grape juice.
Yeah.
Whereas this kind of tastes like grape juice with seltzer added. Yes, I know that's how you make it, but you don't have to necessarily taste like you make it, but this one does. So anyway, so that is our experience with this. We are now going to move into the experience of the con, and now that I did that right when she took a drink, we'll wait a second as she gets into starting us off with the experiences.
Yes. So this was actually my first Origins experience. I've been to Gen Con. Been to quite a few Gen Cons.
We always lose track of the number. We always have to think. It's like anywhere from 3 to 5, I think.
Yeah, I think you've got a couple more on me.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So you've got an extra Origins on me too.
Indeed.
But this was my first one, so I had going in. You know, I had that mindset of Gen Con, huge numbers,
taking over cities.
Yes, you know, everything. Gen Con, everything. You know, gaming. This didn't feel as big.
I did temper her expectations with that. I did kind of like let her know going in, don't expect the Gen Con experience, but still, like you said, that's your main basis of comparison to a larger non-local one would be Gen Con.
Right. But I tell you, I liked Origins better because of the simple fact that it was much more relaxed, I guess you could say, much more like it wasn't as crowded, so you didn't have people constantly bumping into you, constantly at the booths, hovering around. You were able to see the board games. You were able to see what they look like. You were able to play test.
The crafters, the artists, you were actually able to like converse with them as opposed to them having just run and throw stuff at people as they're buying it. You weren't just like shuffling along with all the people trying to see what's next to each other. You were able to kind of walk around and actually look at your own pace and not feel rushed.
Right. And the aisles, to me, I thought they were nice and wide.
Yeah, they definitely seem wider than Gen Con, because I think it was easily 4 people wide, if not more.
Yeah, and I know they had quite a few, not necessarily just in the gaming hall, but in the actual vendor hall. They had quite a few open spaces, game
Yeah, they had
spaces.
they had some tables there. They had a lot of I think the one place is some of the vendors could go there to play test their stuff. Like I think Fireside Games was there with one of their games doing a demo at one point. So yeah, instead of it all being at the booth, there's like a big area there that they could have also taken people to.
Yeah, so that was nice. There were a few games that I was able to actually look at and talk to the publisher, the creator, the designer, and that actually kind of, oh, cool, that sounds like a cool game. Instead of just looking and, oh, okay, well, I can't get up there, so never mind.
I mean, we shouldn't say every booth was just wide open. There were times that we wanted to double back. There was some that would get busy here and there. But then if you came back in a little bit, it was less busy and you're able to get through. Whereas, like we said, Gen Con, it would be busy start to finish. Also, so Thursday we weren't there when the exhibit hall first opened. I think we got there like maybe... No, we were in the gaming hall when the exhibit hall opened.
Yeah.
And then by the time we went to the exhibit hall, it had been open for like 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
But the second day on Friday, we were there when the hall opened, and you were able to easily walk in. There wasn't like a wall of people to get in. There wasn't
that crush, that squeeze, that...
Yeah, there wasn't the running of the nerds, as they call it for Gen Con.
Yeah.
It was you were able to walk in. There is no like big release to where everyone's rushing in and trying to trample to grab the new hottest thing. So...
Yeah.
It's, and a lot of people say it is, Gen Con's where you go to buy, Origins is where you go to play. And that is definitely prevalent. I mean, so Gen Con is the best 4 days in gaming. Origins is 5 days. Well, the exhibit hall is open for that Wednesday that Origins starts is when the gaming hall is open. There's a few vendors in there, like there's Queen Games, All Play had a booth, BA Games was in there. A few other vendors. SRG was doing, had some few things for sale, and they also had a booth in the exhibit hall. But outside of that, the gaming library is open. So you have all these tables for gaming, all these demos. So it's not even necessarily buying. You can buy a little, but there is so much gaming you can do on that first day when you get in there. And then, of course, then the things of buying. But that's coming in the experience, the gaming library. That's included in your badge. You don't have to buy anything extra. I know they made that change, I think a couple years ago. I think at one point you had to buy the gaming badge separate, but now it's included in the badge price. And the gaming library, we walked through it.
Huge.
Yeah, it's run by CABS, isn't the abbreviation. It's like Columbus Area Board Game Society or something like that. Sorry if I got it wrong, but it's basically the CABS or CAMS board game library. And yeah, they had a ton of different titles. I know they even had some of the ones that you could buy at the show. They had some new releases. They had all the news section was all separated, so it was a really nice one. And there's a lot of tables. I heard Friday, Saturday it got hard to find a open gaming table there.
But yeah, that to me that is a huge thing, is to be able to see the games and to actually play test the games. Because I don't know how many times we've gone, like you said, Gen Con, oh, that's a cool game, but it was so crowded. It's like, okay, well, I'll just take it and hope and pray that it is actually a good game. And then you get it home and play it, and it's like, oh, well, that's not what I thought it was.
In addition to that, with the sheer size of Gen Con, trying to get through everything, you don't want to devote that time to sit down and play like a half-hour, 45-minute play test or hang around a booth until they're available, because you have so many booths to get through. Like I know when we were going before, it took us 3.5 days to get through every booth with the initial run. Then like that last half day kind of running around grabbing everything else.
And I'll admit, I have a tendency, I like to look. I browse. I actually peruse. So it takes me a little longer.
So like here, I think first day we got through about half, maybe slightly more than half the hall. Second, we were there for only the 2 days. The second day, we I left you alone for an hour and a half. Yeah. But then we kind of made it through the other half a little bit, speed running it slightly, but we still stopped and checked out what we wanted to do. It's just we weren't necessarily looking as intently at the dice or looking as intently at some of the crafters, but we still had no problems getting through the exhibit hall in the 2 days.
Yeah. We even went back to
a few ones.
A few.
So I think the third, if we did 3 days, we could have been a little easier on the second day, and then basically touched base on the third day.
Yeah. So another thing too was, and I do apologize that a lot of my experience is Gen Con. So I will be comparing Gen Con to Origins or Origins Gen Con.
But that will work because I know on the Origins Facebook page, a lot of people always go like, how does this compare to Gen Con? Or I've done Gen Con. How am I going to like Origins? So we're going to basically be sharing our experience. And then as she said, she'll be doing the comparison for you. So if that is something you're wondering about.
Our hotel room, we did stay outside of downtown.
Hilliard, I believe, was the city or neighborhood.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's a city.
I know the street was Hilliard.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Something.
I'm pretty sure we were staying in Hilliard.
But it was less than 10 minutes away. It literally right down the street. And the funny thing is, it actually seemed like it took us longer to get there than it did to go back.
Yeah, and there was no traffic. Like even downtown city, there was no traffic. We literally got on the expressway. I'm not going to say the street was empty, but you weren't in bumper to bumper. You moved at the right clip. You got off the exit, and you were right at the convention center. We were right by our parking garage. So,
Yep.
And then I know Friday, we left at typical rush hour time, and even that wasn't bumper to bumper. It was a little bit more traffic getting out of the city, but even that we never stopped. It still flowed well.
Yeah.
Parking itself, so we got parking via Spot Hero, and it was $25 a day. If you bought it through the convention center parking garage, it was going to be $30 a day. But these were garages that literally were right next to the convention center. The one that we parked in on Wednesday, the Goodale garage, had a skywalk to go right into the convention center. The one that we parked in the other 2 days, Vine Street, you could basically walk into the Hilton. And if you went up a floor in the Hilton, there was a skywalk, or you could just walk right out there, cross the street, and you're at the convention center. I know I did hear people say if you parked a bit further away, it's a Meeple family. They said, I believe they parked for like 12 or 13. It was a little bit of a walk. So if that's not something, so you don't have to pay that price for parking. Yeah. We just knew we were going to be walking a lot. So we opted for that.
Yeah.
So.
I know when I was looking on Spot Hero, they had some that were like $10 a day, but it was a 15-minute walk. So, if that is something that
you don't mind the walking, the parking isn't that bad. I can't think of anywhere in Gen Con you'd be able to park for that much. Yeah. Maybe if you stayed 4 cities over.
You mean for that little?
Yeah. Sorry, that little. For that little, I don't think we ever spent.
Yeah.
I think it was always 25 and up for every day at Gen Con. So, and then going off of what I knew from 2 years ago, and even kind of looking now, I want to say if you try to stay downtown, I think you were only looking at maybe $200 a night. For some of the connected ones, maybe a little more.
Yeah, I know we had seen maybe $200-300.
Which you got to figure for the convention at Gen Con, if you're out of block, you're looking at like $400 a night.
Yeah.
So, anything else?
Well, the badges, like we had said. On Wednesday when we came in, we picked up our badges. It was. I don't think there was any. Well, actually, I think there was like one person in front of me.
And I think I had a family in front of me. Because I believe the only way to get your badges for Origins mailed is if you get the VIP package. There's no mailing option as of right now. But they have it where you can go and have someone print it for you, or it's a scan and go. You get a QR code, you scan it under the scanner, prints up your badge. If you had tickets, they give you your tickets, and then you go on your merry way. You get another line, and that's where you get your lanyard and your coupon book and your program. And then they punch your badge, let them know you got the coupon book. So that way people aren't grabbing like 7, 8, 9 of them, and then people can't get them. So kind of want to piggyback on something that she had mentioned with the sitting down with publishers is, so 2 years ago, we kind of had the channel going. So but we weren't big and we didn't have a lot of connections with some of the publishers and all that. This year, we've worked with some, we've talked with some, we've known some. So this was a really fun time for me personally. Something that was really different for me is like I could go and be like, oh, I gotta go say hi to somebody. Like that isn't normally something that happens. And the fact that with this one, those people are so available. They are not inundated with all of the crowd. So you are able to kind of talk to them more, build those relationships, have them kind of let you know, what's coming up and what games are going on. And even not just for content creators. I mean, like they're there that anyone in the public can come up and say, hey, how you doing? So I don't want it to seem like, oh, he's a content creator, so he was able to go and talk to this guy. No, like that's the thing is they are so available in this one because they aren't overwhelmed with the 70,000 plus people.
Yeah.
Like they released the numbers for Origins. I think what I say it was like 19, a little bit over 19,000. Yeah. So, it is much more laid back. We were talking with Keith from Thunderworks Games. He said it's nice for them because this is kind of like the training to make sure that they're good for Gen Con. They're able to get the booth set up and work on how they want to manage things.
Yeah. Now that being said, the one, I guess, not disadvantage, but the one negative is that there were a lot, and I've seen it on, I shouldn't say a lot, but I know I've seen it on like the Origins Facebooks and things like that, where there were a lot of games not there, but, well, we'll have it at Gen Con. We'll have it at Gen Con.
I know that happens at Origins a bit. And I know this year, following some of the publishers, because of the tariff situation and the backup coming out of China for all that, that did delay some of the games. Like I think I'd seen Arcane Wonders had said that it forced them that they basically had to push their Origin releases to Gen Con and their Gen Con releases to Essen because of just how long it took to get the games over here. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, kind of with that, and it's kind of actually one of the selling parts for you too, talking about games and publishers, is this one also has a lot of indie publishers, a lot of up-and-comers. So you do have that kind of double-edged sword where with them being newer, so a lot of them are getting the word out about their first game. That's going to be on Kickstarter they don't have yet. Then you also have those ones who have just fulfilled their first game. Yeah. So they do have those there and building up for their second one. So they still have something. And I know that's one of the things, like I said, you liked is instead of always having all these big publishers that everyone's fighting over the games and they have the extravagant boosts that's hard to get into because those are the crowds, this has the smaller ones that you are able to make that more personal connection with and try it and find out and see their passion for their projects.
Yeah, because there were a few, I guess, indie creators there that, this was their first, they had just finished it on Kickstarter or they were just starting it on Kickstarter. And they were so excited about sharing their game with you. So that was kind of nice to be able to have that kind of connection with those creators, as opposed to, like you said, the big that, oh, well, this is, I don't want to say old hat, but they're not.
It isn't necessarily their passion project. They're the ones distributing it. Whereas with the indie ones, you're talking to people who designed it, commissioned the art, made the mechanics, kickstarted themselves, went through the fulfillment. It's literally what they've lived like probably the last 4 to 5 years doing.
Some even drew the artwork themselves, so there really was a labor of love. So that was kind of nice. I like that.
So that about wraps that up. And seeing as we were talking about them showing off their games, I think we are going to show off the games that we got. So here we go.
So our first game is Biome.
From Lioness Games.
Yes. Oh, I didn't realize this is 2024.
Cool. Probably because it's a deluxe edition. They probably did it for the deluxe edition.
So this was one of the creators that we actually had talked to, and again, seemed like one of the labors of love. Can you tell them about it?
So Biome is basically you're building your biome between 3 different habitats. Every round, you're going to be basically drawing cards, collecting resources, and then playing a card. And then in turn order, everyone is going to activate one of their cards. Cards can basically activate once per turn. And then they do a variety
Once per game.
Once per game. And they do a bunch of different abilities. And then basically when someone either fills up their full board, someone crosses 120 points, or you get to the end of summer in the third year the game's over, total up points. And actually, there's really not totaling up points because you're going to earn all the points throughout the game. It's got really cool, what's the word I'm looking for? Components. Where you have actual bird nests because you're going to be nesting in different things. And that is one of the big ways you get points. I'm not going to tell you too much because we are planning on covering this on the channel. We're going to be doing an unboxing, a how to play, a solo play, probably eventually reviewing it. This did make the list of the first games we played after Origins, so we actually did play it this past weekend, and pretty sure we both enjoyed it so far.
Yeah.
So
it does kind of have that wingspan-y...
Slightly.
Or Earth...
Yeah, Earth will gain a bunch of cards, Wingspan using the cubes to kind of activate stuff. But to me, it's still its own kind of beast because there is more planning ahead for feeding your young. Because if you don't feed your young, you don't get points and you can score huge points. I know that's how you caught up and passed me a lot in our play, was feeding the young, because you get like 2 points for every young you feed. So like bunnies have 6 young, so that's 12 points if you can feed them. So that is Biome. Next up, we have a game.
Oh my goodness. It's a heavy one. Kind of looking forward to this one too.
I think, is the expansion there by it?
It is. Sort of, kind of. There we go. So, Flock Together from Sea Cow Games. This is the base. And then that one came out...
2024.
2024.
I'm not going to remember all the years.
Yeah. And then this is the new one that just came out. The Flock Together Birds of a Feather Expansion.
So this one is basically going to be a boss battler where every person's going to have their own special chicken with fun names. And you're going to be fighting the bad chickens with fun names on the board. But you're basically going to be collecting actions, so forth, and attacking them.
Annie Oakley.
I think those are all Annie Oakley. I know there was Hens Gruber, etc. But what I really liked about this one is that your chicken is in a book. So as you level it up, you're just turning pages as opposed to having to grab different cards or flip stuff over. It's all nicely contained in a book. And the expansion adds, I believe you can do another player, but our big thing is that it adds more heroes and villains as well. 6
more heroes and 6 more villains. And the nice thing is that the heroes are all one color, the villains are all another color. So you've got it that way. And
then we got some extra chicken dice.
Yes. And the cool thing about the chicken dice, I got it. Is that, let's see, there we go.
The 5.
So that is, nope. There we go. That's the face, and then that's the butt, and then there's the feet, and then if you flip it up there we go, and there's the comb or whatever. Yeah, the comb. And then you've got the 4 and the 3, I believe, are the wings. So that was actually kind of cool. Next one, this was actually one that I had seen when the groom decided to leave me alone for an hour and a half. So it's Familiars and Foes. And this one looked like a really cool game. And I did talk to the designer. And what it is you are familiars that are trying to save your witches that have been kidnapped. And you're going to go around and you're going to try, and there's different waves, 4 waves, and each one gets progressively harder as you go around. And it's just basically you're trying to fight the bad guys to get the witches and save your witches.
So I will normally say when we're going to cover stuff on the channel, but right now, basically figure whatever we show you, we'll cover on the channel unless I say differently. Because Flock Together, I know we're going to cover. I know we want to cover this on the channel as well. So just figure whatever we show you will probably end up on the channel unless I say, yeah. Although I might not even say that until I fully decide. So
Yeah, but this one I'm kind of looking forward to. All right, so then the next one we have is
Hasselude,
Hasselude.
which I guess is the French term for jousting. I'll take over this one because I know you initially weren't keen on it, but it's one that I definitely wanted to grab.
Not necessarily not keen.
You said no, but it's basically, they described it, it's that Euro worker placement type of thing where you're going to be placing your workers around here, collecting resources and stuff to be able to upgrade your knight. You're going to send your knight into the tournaments to collect points and gold and use that gold to help do fun stuff. That's about it. I mean, to me, it was the whole worker placement and Euro is what really dragged me or drew me into this one. So that, it's got a solo mode, etc. This is another one, kind of like we said, the whole indie publishers, this was their one game, and it looked like they really put some care and effort into it.
And the only reason that I wasn't keen on it was because it seemed rather, not complicated, but rather...
Heavier?
Yeah. So I'm not good on heavier games. And then...
But when we heard them describe it, it did seem to be described a little bit easier than you were probably thinking. So.
And then the next one we have is Endangered from Grand Gamers Guild.
So this is a one that released a while ago, although they do have they constantly are coming out with new content. They have a Kickstarter coming out soon for this for Australia. So with like koala bears and new missions and etc.
I know they had the expansion. We didn't pick it up, but we did grab this one, the base. And the cool thing was, cha-cha, was we got it autographed or signed by
the designer,
Joe Hopkins.
So while you grab the next game, I'll cover this one briefly. This is a co-op game trying to save the animals. If I remember right, you're kind of placing your dice as workers or workers where dice are. And it's got different missions and various different things you can do to do and save the different animals. And that's kind of what all the expansions add, is new areas where you can do all that.
All right. So now we got a couple of little ones coming up.
So Xenophera Galactic Market. Be right up front with you. We don't know a ton about this one. We talked to the company Puff Duck Games about a different game they have coming out called Fading Realms that we're hoping to cover on the channel. And she said, while we're waiting to hear from her on that, why don't we go ahead and give this one a try and try this one out. I believe she said it's a type of bidding, auctiony type of game. They have a game called, I think, just Xenophera. And this is kind of supposed to be kind of like re-implementing that, kind of using similar stuff, just in a different way.
Next one, Clans and Glory.
So we'll go with this is another one we didn't actually play test. This came from Outset Media. They had a few other games we were interested in getting anyways. They had a coupon, buy a game, get $5 off all other purchases. So this is one we kind of, I want to say, took a flyer on because it was on our list to check out at the con because it takes place in Scotland, if I remember right. Yep, Scotland. Yep. And so that's one of the few times that I'll go theme or setting necessarily over stuff, even though it's normally Bry's thing. But this and kind of just like the gameplay, and I want to say this seemed maybe similar to like Battle Line or Shot and Totten, where you're trying to build up the different sides of the areas. I know we kind of like Shot and Totten and such. So. Yes.
So the next one we have is Mythical.
I know nothing about this. We alluded to me disappearing for an hour and a half on Bry. I went to an Asmodee preview event. I left her to her own devices in the gaming hall. And this is a 2-player game that we got in our swag bag. So we are 2-player players. It's 15 minutes. I believe, is this the one that says risk-taking and skillful timing combined cleverly in the strategic duel that gets deeper with every play. So that just sounds fun. The artwork looks cool. So we will be giving that one a try.
And speaking of the whole leaving me on my own devices, this one is one that I thought looked really, 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 really interesting. Unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately, but it is a solo player.
Although we'll probably end up trying to play it cooperatively. I don't see why not. We can just kind of joint make decisions.
Yeah. But this one is In the Blink of a Dragon's Eye. And essentially it is a book. You read it. It's in 5 chapters and an epilogue. And after each chapter is essentially a roll and write. Basically a roll and write. Or...
Yeah, roll and write to where you're basically going to play through the events that you just read about.
Yeah. So I know that they just fulfilled.
Yeah, they're just fulfilling this one.
Their Kickstarter. So we ended up getting this. Like I said, it looked really, really interesting, and it was one of those where I was able to speak to the creators, going back to the whole experience.
And then they are planning on doing another Kickstarter in this same world, and that's going to be a 1 to 2 player cooperative game in this same planet, universe, so forth.
Yes. I believe this one, they said, was a prequel to the other one. So this one takes place, I believe, 5,000 years before their next game. And then our next one is
Nanatorodori.
Nanatorodori. That one's from Kids Tabletop Board Games. Now we did play this game the night that we got it, Thursday night. So it's kind of an interesting game. You're trying to get rid of your hand of bird cards, but you have to. It's trick taking. Well, not trick taking, but you have to follow.
Yeah, it basically is trick taking.
Yeah, so you have to follow what's played. But it's the uniqueness about it is you cannot put your cards together. You have to, however the cards are dealt out, you have to hold them in your hand that way. And so if you have a 2 and a 2, you cannot put them together. So you have to just kind of try and get rid of cards to get those together to get rid of all the cards.
But the other thing is that when you win, you can either discard the cards or take the cards and put them in your hand anywhere at that point. So if there's like 3 2s out there, using her example, and there's a 2 here, you can take those 3 2s and put them by that other 2, so now you have your 4 2s together.
Yeah. So that's the first bag.
So starting off the next bag, we got a twofer. We got the expansions for Galactic Cruise. We've played Galactic Cruise a few times. We definitely liked it. These basically add more stuff. There's I think 2 or 3 modules in each one, and it basically, both of them in essence replace the cabin card or cabin tiles in the game, and then they do something different there, and then add in a few other fancy things. So Galactic Cruise expansions. Now we're going to go into a bunch of smaller games, right?
Yep.
All right.
So we got Moose Match Bayhem from the people that bring you
Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza.
Thank you.
It's Dolphin Hat Games.
So the youth really likes Taco Cat. I can never say it.
Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza.
Thank you. I'm not a big fan of it, only because I am constantly getting my hand slapped.
Which we'll cover later.
Yes. But this game is kind of along the lines, but it's not, you're not smacking hands, you're grabbing cards quickly.
So it's not as much like Slapjack, it's more just grabbing the cards and matching them.
How fast you can grab. So we got that one. And then we have Mushroom Cats.
So we got this one at the Hatchet Games booth. This one basically is going to be a drafting game, and then the cards score different ways. Some of them have special powers, etc. Just so you know, this is the size of the box. That's the size of the cards. I initially thought it was like two decks of smaller cards. Nope, they're big, large tarot cards. Really cool art. Really simple gameplay. Kid likes mushrooms. Kid likes cats. So the theme alone kind of drew us in. Simple drafting game. So
that one. And then this is one that I was actually kind of looking forward to, is 3, 2, 1 Countdown from Grandpa Beck's Games. It looks like it's a fairly simple game, 15 to 30 minutes, and you're trying to get your hand down to 5 points or less. Be the first person to get your hands down to 5 points or less.
So card shedding game, basically getting rid of cards and either calling a countdown or blast off if you're able to get rid of all your cards.
So, you know me, I love my card games.
We did get quite a lot of small games this year.
Yeah. Next one is Trash Cult.
This is one we bought on theme. We kind of looked at people playing it, but it's kind of more, we kind of like the art. We kind of like the look of it. Youth likes raccoons and opossums. I'm going to call them possums. So those are kind of featured in here, and then kind of the cult theme you guys are fond of. Not necessarily making cults, but the cult in general. So that's why that one.
Figure we'll give it a try, because that's half the fun of these conventions, is finding new games. All right, Mega Jackpot.
So again, we got this from Hatchet Games. This is, again, simple, quick, small card game. It's kind of got press your luck, where you're basically doing like a slot machine. You flip over the cards, and at some point you can try and, I think, flip a token, grab a token, something, to see if you hit the Mega Jackpot. That's it.
Xylatar.
You want to try this one or no?
From Bezier
Games. You want to try it or no?
No?
All right.
It's kind of a unique
trick taking.
Yeah.
It's a trick taking game. We actually got this one because this is one of the ones the youth said that they would try with us, because it's typically 3 to 5. There's special rules for 2 player. I will say I really like that Bezier Games does this. Is if there's special rules for 2 players, they make sure to put that in the box. Basically, you deal out all the cards, and then you're going to put all of the cards in order. Then you pass them to the person on your left. That person lays them out. And so now you know the color of card, but not necessarily the number, unless you can deduce it from what you know of what you gave to your other opponent and kind of where the cards lie in relation. And then you basically play trick-taking rules. Someone flips over a card. You have to follow color if possible. Otherwise, you can play any card. In a 3-player game, yellow is trump. In the other counts, red is trump, etc. You do also at some point have to bid on how many tricks you think you're going to take. Xylatar. Released at Origins, you can grab the next one. Released at Origins was an expansion that adds some modules to it. We weren't 100% sure the youth was actually going to like it, so we didn't grab the expansions.
Next one is Slide. This is kind of the cool box. This one here is you are dealt
4x4 grid.
4x4 grid. Lay them out, and you are trying to get like numbers together. But the way to do that is you need to slide the cards. The cards that you pick up cannot go in empty spots. So you're going to have to either slide cards over, you're going to have to slide cards up or down, and it's a very thinky game. It doesn't look like it, but it is a very thinky game.
Spatial game. Kind of think of those number puzzles that you used to have where you mix up all the numbers and you had to try and get them in order. That same kind of principle behind it.
Yeah. So one that I'm looking forward to is King's Coalition from Play to Z. Now, this one I actually was able to play a demo of, and it's kind of like
Fantasy Realms.
Thank you. I always get but this is kind of like Fantasy Realms, although in Fantasy Realms you have the cards that have all the different conditions. You get points for this if you have this card and this card, but if you have these cards, you don't. This does not have that. This has the factions. They have their own special powers, so you don't have to worry about that. But those powers give points, take away points, things like that.
So basically, instead of a deck of cards that all do different things, this is a deck of cards whose suits do different things.
Right.
So a lot less to manage and easier to score.
Yes, much easier to score. And then this one, these I'm kind of looking forward to. Ghost Hunter. So there's vampires, spirits, and monsters.
There are some others out there that they didn't have at Origins. This is again from Outset Media. So we figured, I think we got them $5 off. They're normally $10. We basically got them for half off. So let's grab each of them. And it does seem like a simple, basically card game. I know I briefly looked at the rules. I believe it's basically going to be like playing cards down. I don't know. Card playing, that's all we needed to know. And I believe technically you can combine them for more players or more ghost hunting madness.
Yes. So that's those. Next one we got is Parks and Potion. That one actually by Moon Saga Workshop. That one actually seems very interesting. You are a park ranger alchemist, and you are trying to collect
Potion ingredients.
Ingredients, thank you. Ingredients to help heal the animals and in the forest.
So this one is one we are for sure going to cover on the channel. This was a review copy. One thing that really struck me with this is like how big the box is, but it says it's only 15 to 30 minutes. So that makes me, so usually in these bigger boxes, it's usually a bit longer play. So I really do like that. And as you said, it sounds like it's really cool because I know you got walked through this when we were there a little bit.
The next one we got is Oddland.
Why do you think they call it Oddland? One of the reasons is because there are odd creatures. So this, contrary to Parks and Potions, this box, and this says it is a 30+ minute game. I think according to BGG, 40 minutes, which is longer than a lot of these small box ones from All Play is. But you're basically going to be playing out tiles and putting out your species, and then the species are going to score a certain way. So kind of gave me vibes of like a shared board, kind of Cascadia, where your different species are scoring a certain way. You're trying to build those up.
Okay. And then coming off, or I should say not coming off, but from All Play, another one, we have Ruins.
So this one is Card Crafting by John DeClaire. If you've ever played Custom Heroes from a long time ago that he did for AEG, this is basically a re-implementation of that. It is trick taking with customizable cards. So.
And then we got Lambada.
Lambada.
We did not get to play that
Now
one.
we kind of looked at it and just, again, Outset got the discount, and from just reading about its description on Board Game Geek definitely made me interested. It's playing cards, trying to get to certain letters and color matching and all that. And it's what, 25 minutes and a card game. So that's right up your alley.
Yes.
I'm going to kick that way.
Okay. Next one we got is Solstice.
This one, I was actually surprised. We were showing the youth all the games, and they're like, I'll try that one with you. This one you are going to be playing, as you can see, build your panorama, encounter spirits, climb to the peaks. I can't remember if it's out now or coming out very soon. They are doing an expansion for this already. I know a lot of people said good things about this online. It's got a solo mode, and it's supposed to be a good 2-player game, so that's why I was interested in us getting it.
Okay. Next one, it's cute.
Yep.
Catch Kittens.
Supposed to play quick too. I think it's got like a 5 or 10 minute play time. 2-player only. If you look it up on Board Game Geek, it's going to actually say Couch Skeletons, aka Couch Kittens. Skeletons came first. They've rethemed it to kittens, so we got the kittens because people in this house outside of me prefer kittens over skeletons.
And yeah, it's a 5 to 10 minutes.
So
it's a 5 to 10 minute game. Next one, Panda Panda.
This is one of the Tiny Box series from All Play. This plays in 15 minutes. Card shedding, I noticed, was a big one for us because if I remember right, this is draw, discard. Oh, you're trying to get certain sets of cards in your hand that you have to have exactly, and it's based on these numbers or letters. So like you have to have like a pair B and E, but only B and E in your hand. So you have to try and get down to 2 cards by basically drawing cards, discarding cards, giving cards to other players.
Next one we have is Rummy Gummies.
This is all you.
Yep. This one was actually one that I had seen it. It says that it's kind of, rummy. Really enjoy playing rummy. And it's got the gummies, so they looked cute. It's a cute little quick game that, it just like rummy gummy. Next one we have is the Ministry of Lost Things. This one looked really, really, really cool because it is a escape room in a box.
So, and it's long, because I think it's like 120.
2 to 3 hours.
Yeah, so 120 to 360, 240, whatever.
Yeah.
It's a long one, so it's a lot more involved. There's tons of components, having to search through things. It's not going to just be like a card with a puzzle on it. You're going to have to search through what looked like news headline type of stuff and maps and all that. So
and yeah.
definitely one of the more involved ones. It comes from Post Curious, who has a bunch of different ones. This is easier on their scale, and they have a lot harder ones. And they have one on Kickstarter now or coming soon.
Oh,
The Emerald Echoes.
I want to say that it was coming soon.
Either way, if you want to look at Kickstarter, I know they have another one coming.
Yeah, but a lot of their game. Well, like you said, a lot of their games are the escape rooms in a box.
I think that's actually one of the shorter ones too. I think a lot of them are longer. So we have Tacta promotional edition. We demoed a game at the Miniature Market booth. Trio, and we got this for demoing. So this is basically a two-player version of Tacta. So if you know Tacta, that's a two-player only, and you can actually, I guess, shuffle that into Tacta to increase the player count by 2.
Sir Ocelot's Cave.
This is another one we got from the Asmodee swag bag. Again, two-player only game from Lookout Games. Don't know much about it. It looks like you're basically trying to get your people out and collect things.
Ooh, and it's got a cloth map.
Yep.
So, next one is Toy Battle.
So, Asmodee swag bag. This is from Paulo Mori, who's done Blitzkrieg and those types of games. But this is, you're basically going to have these different maps. Each player has their troops, and you're putting the troops on the map, trying to surround areas and get points. And on your turn, you're either going to draw troops or place a troop out. I believe they said this is one of the most played games on Board Game Arena right now. And two-player, so.
Cool. Got a lot of two-player games.
Is that it for that bag?
That's it for that bag. All right. So you've seen Moose
Match
Mayhem. And I told you about the whole taco, cat, goat, cheese, pizza thing and the getting the hand smacked. So we mentioned that, and they have this. You got kitty cat. You've got goat. You've got cheese. You've got the pizza. And you've got the taco. What these are? Knits. So now, when you're playing, obviously you're not going to put both on, but you can play your cards with one hand, your other hand, you can smack.
So that way you're not smacking right on people, like her with her rings, we're not possibly getting stabbed, etc.
So we got that, and it comes in a handy dandy little backpack.
All right, we are about done with all of this. Well, we're done with the games themselves right now. So this is the last thing we got in our swag bag from Asmodee, and this is the Game Castle. It's mainly made for people who do like card games, like Magic, Lorcana, or if you have, like, say, a big Marvel Champions collection, anything that's got a bunch of cards, this kind of houses it, keeps them together, has somewhere for you to put all your tokens and whatnot. It's big, it's heavy, it's pretty cool looking.
Plus it has a shoulder strap. Yep. It's included.
I looked out, there's, I think, like 3 different colors. I didn't look, I grabbed a bag, and I got the color option I would have wanted.
Green!
So, in addition to that, we got the Mr. Potato Head Dungeons and Dragons Beholder. This is actually a miniature of it, so it's on a miniature base, so you can put it in your games and so forth. In October, they're coming out with an actual Beholder Mr. Potato Head that I am hoping to get for my birthday. Like right around my birthday, it comes out. So with that, we are going to take you over to, yeah, I can't get green screen working, so you're just going to get a green piece of paper as I do stuff. All right, so we went pin happy, as is what happens at these. So we got the fan roll pin. We got one from 2023. This may be a duplicate. I can't remember for sure if we got this when I went to Origins a couple years ago. We got one from Grandpa Beck's Games. We got the Chaotic Stupid Pug. This was from, I don't know how to pronounce it, Himgo, HYMGHO. I know they have different ones that are similar to that, such as this one, your Lawful Sleepy with the sloth. And then Galactic Cruise, when you bought stuff there, you got Pin Collection 1, which is your cockpit and your engine. And then they had for sale where you can get the different cabins to make a real long spaceship if you want. And then we got 2 more-ish pins. We got T-Goblin. I don't remember the booth that we got this from.
Wasn't that Cub?
Oh, Dreamvale Studios. It's on the back. So this is Dreamvale Studios. And then this board game arena pin is, again, part of that Asmodee swag bag. And then actually the coaster I've been using was as well. Really cool, nice wooden coaster with their new logo. Let's go ahead and do some of the stickers. So we have the gelatinous cube. So it's a good thing I didn't use green screen. Otherwise, you wouldn't have seen that. And we got us a beholder. And then we have the Don't Get Stabbed one. And then we have promo cards. So this is a promo card for Parks and Potions. This was a joint promo card. So there is a Call of Cthulhu game that they didn't quite get at Origins yet, but they had this one that they were doing with one of the local artists that were there.
Yeah, that was a unique game.
Yeah. This was for King's Coalition, if I remember right. The Jester. Yep.
Yes.
Then this
a new
bird is for Nana Toradori. Sorry, you're saying that added a new.
That added a new faction.
So, and then Rock and Roll Brouhaha. We got the Origins card. And then this looks like this is probably for, what's that game? Forest Shuffle. This looks like a Forest Shuffle promo. That was from the swag bag. And then if anyone knows what this is from, I don't know what this is from. This was just in our bags. I don't know where it came from. So if you know where this is, otherwise it just is a cool wooden mini. Speaking of minis, you have a Mimic birthday cake. You said you got this from WizKids?
That was from WizKids for when we got Mr. Potato Head, and that was to celebrate WizKids' birthday.
Then we got, of course, the Origins dice from Crystal Cast. And then I got these dice. These are really cool. They're silicone-y, they're rubbery, they're squishy, they're fun, they stick to each other, etc. And then finally we got some ribbons.
We didn't get a whole lot of ribbons, but...
So there was tons of ribbons we had, we just didn't get them. So you have Weather Dragon, the GOAT from BA Games. If you didn't know, they have a game coming to Kickstarter soon called Goats and Goblins. We are going to be covering that on the channel once it is released. You have Dice Goblin from Robin's Nerd Supplies. Game Witch. This is from a game on Kickstarter right now.
Yeah, that one's
which is Quarrel.
Yeah.
It's a 2-player only legacy type game, although it is resettable. It's more like a 2-player campaign type game because you're going to be playing witches, and when you reach a certain goal or do a certain something, you're going to unlock an envelope and more cards.
Yeah, I think there's something like 36 envelopes or something.
Museum of Dungeons and Dragons. Friend of Dragons. That also came from that Dreamvale. Is when you bought, you got to choose, I think it was Friend of Dragons or Friend of something else.
Yeah, I can't remember.
And then another BA Games, I got Hammered.
I believe that one was for...
Forges of Ravenshire.
Forges of Ravenshire.
And then finally she got a fun thing, but we're not going to unroll it, right? Are you going to unroll it?
You know what? I'm going to unroll it real quick. So this is actually cloth. On
canvas, yeah.
Or canvas, yeah. When we actually stopped, I thought this was just the prints, but no, this is actually canvas. And so it's, for anybody who knows, this is Stargate SG-1. This is like one of their big famous posters that they had. So, woo! I thought that was really cool because it was on the canvas and not just on the prints. So,
but that is all the stuff we got. So we are about to test the jalapeno hot sauce. And if you know me, which you may or may not, is I have the Irish palate. I have the Irish stomach. I am not known to like hot stuff, but I believe they described this as, was it a step above or a step below? Wow. I know they used Frank's hot stuff as an example, and they said it was a step below.
Was it a step below? Yeah.
It's right around that one. So we are going to give this a try, and then we're going to cover what we thought about the food at Origins. Alrighty, so here we are with the moment you may or may not have been waiting for. It's the moment I was not waiting for, but I figured, you know what, this is going to be fun. So we have, again, the jalapeno hot sauce. It was wrapped up top. We have undone it. We are eating, I think they're called salad wafers. We got little crackers. Smells interesting.
Ooh.
So let me try and be. You know what? Sure. Let's go. Let's go big. All right.
You got it, or you need some help?
I got some on there. I was trying not to go too crazy.
All right.
So
I am more of the.
There's mine. You know, it's kind of a pickly smell. That's what it is. It's like a pickly jalapeno kind of smell I'm getting off of there.
Okay. Why am I having such a hard time with this?
See, it wasn't just me. It won't be this much of an issue, but we're trying to be a little careful around the game table and such. That should be good.
There we go.
All right. I'm going to try
Ready?
and dab a little bit more. Woo! There we go. All right. Ready?
Cheers. How's the sour taste?
A little bit sour. I will say it is. There's definitely spice there. There's definitely hotness there. I'm not feeling like I need to run for a beverage, but I definitely need a beverage. But to me, it also doesn't taste just like spice. Like, it's not purely spice. There is that flavor. Like you said, kind of that sour, slightly pickly flavor, relishy type of thing.
Yeah, relish. That's.
So I'd say it just went down the wrong pipe. I mean, like I said, this is spicy, but it's not burn your tongue crazy spicy. It is going to add flavor.
Which is funny because when I did it, it actually got the tip of my tongue. So I got like all the spice burn just on that tip.
So I'd say if you're looking for like a hot sauce, this wouldn't be it. If you're looking for a flavorful hot sauce, this would be a good one.
Now, I think they did have another one. It was peachy.
Was it peach habanero or something like that?
No, I didn't think it was spicy or spicier.
But
I know it was peach something. I can't do peach. Not a big peach fan.
So both of these will be available at Gen Con. So we're gonna be like Origins at Gen Con. You know, I'm gonna try. Oh yeah. Let's go with that. That's gonna kill me. Oh, that was a bad idea. Right after drink. All right, a big one, not good.
You wuss.
I am. I said it from the get-go.
Yep.
I have an Irish palate. We don't do spice. I will say, even though that killed me, and it's continuing to kill me, it is a good flavor outside of the crazy spice. So like I said, if you're wanting something that has a good flavor to it, this is definitely it. I think you lost your drink.
Yep.
All right. So now that I've killed myself with spice,
For your entertainment.
we're gonna get into food. So I'm looking at her notes, so I know. You want to cover your notes, or you want me to cover your notes? All right. So I'll before she gets into her notes, I'll cover what 2 years ago. I basically had 1 day of meals in Columbus. I did North Market for pizza for lunch, and for dinner, I got into Barley's and had a fish sandwich with pierogies. Fast forward 2 years later, we did a few meals down there. I know you're going to cover North Market, but I'm going to kind of cut you a little bit here and say what I noticed, which was a little peculiar for me. Maybe it's where we live is just this way, but North Market it didn't look like much had changed in those 2 years. Like a lot of the restaurants and spaces that were there. Oh, I guess I should say, if you don't know what North Market is, North Market is basically like a food hall. It is
big giant food court.
Yeah, big giant food court, bunch of restaurants. There is a liquor store, which is where we got Kitty Paw. There's like a meat delicatessen. There's a place where you can buy pasta to make yourself at home. A couple of those, but for the most part,
Fish.
yeah, fish. For the most part, it's where you can go to get meals. But like I said, a lot of the stalls that were there were the ones I remember from 2 years ago. There wasn't much turnover, maybe one or two. I haven't really compared it to what it was from back then, but a lot of them that I remember being there were still there. And we're used to like a mall food court where you're getting changed like every 3 to 5 months, it seems.
Yeah.
Whew. Go ahead. I'm still recovering.
So yeah, for the food, we didn't go very many places. We tried to go to Barley's both days, all 3 days actually.
Yeah.
We tried to hit Barley's all 3 days, all 3 different times. It was always so crowded and so busy and good half hour, 45-minute wait. So we just gave up and went other places.
Which I'm going to cut in right there and bringing it back to comparing it to Gen Con. That seems to be one of the differences. Is like Barley's is the place to hit at Origins. If you venture outside of Barley's, for the most part, there was no wait. Like we lucked out at Mikey's Late Night Slice when we went. We got there before the crowd,
which is right across the street.
Yeah,
I think it was like 2, 3 down from Barley's.
Yeah, so it seemed like the surrounding areas weren't getting hit as hard either. Now I will say, Wednesday when we hit it, it was 5:30, 6 o'clock.
Yeah, so it was right around dinner time on that one.
Same thing on Thursday is we did dinner right before the exhibit hall closed. I think we left the exhibit hall like 10 to 6 and hit North Market.
Yeah, because they closed at 7.
Yes, we rushed over there. So we went right around basically dinner time. And
but Thursday we did try and go to Barley's
at like 1-ish, 2-ish.
Yeah, I think it was like 1 or I want to say it was closer to 2.
And it was still like basically people laying outside. Inside was packed. So
yeah, so.
But getting into that, let's go ahead and go in chronological order.
So Wednesday, we ended up going to Moran's, which...
like a block and a half.
Yeah, it was right across it was like kitty corner from North Market. So I really liked the food there. I ended up getting a hamburger. Excuse me.
It was a Front Street burger, so I know it had bacon. I think it had a different type of cheese on it and a mayo or honey mustard.
A honey mustard, mushroom.
Got the bacon on the side. But yeah, so
yeah.
It wasn't like she just got like a regular old cheeseburger. It did have some different things with it.
Seemed to be a very mushroom heavy vacation, yeah.
And food. Then we did try, apparently it's a big thing in Columbus, is sauerkraut balls.
Yes.
So we tried sauerkraut balls. Theirs was sauerkraut and sausage and basically breading mixed up, and then came with a mustard sauce. Yeah. I think it said spicy mustard, but you just saw me with spice. But that didn't seem that spicy.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, those sauerkraut balls were really good, hot.
Yeah.
As when they cooled down, they did get a little doughy, but hot. Those were really good. Really surprised at them. We just wanted to try them because apparently it was a Columbus scene, and really enjoyed those.
Yeah, it was like every restaurant we looked at had some form of sauerkraut balls.
I know I got the chicken oriental salad, and it came in a big bowl, and that was really good. The
big mixing bowl.
Yeah, big mixing bowl. The dressing was really good. I will say the chow mein noodles on it were a bit hard, but outside of that, their beer selection was good. Their drink selection was good.
Yeah, their rice noodles were kind of weird too. They look like the styrofoam.
Yeah.
And I didn't think that was what rice noodles like.
So that was that first day.
So that was Moran's. The second day,
Thursday lunch, is when we hit Mikey's.
And Mikey's was Mikey's was actually kind of cool because they had the old. Well, one of the things we noticed was it was for the decor is it had one of the old fashioned
Pizza Hut stained
Pizza
glass
Hut, yes.
lampshades hanging from the ceiling.
that they used to have. But Mikey's was when you walk in, you go to the left for the booze, you go to the right for the food.
So she went right, I went left.
And ended up getting they have every week is like a pizza flavor of the week. Unfortunately, when we went that day, it was
Sold out.
And it was the Mushroom
Kingdom.
wasn't it? So it was like mushroom. There were 2 kinds of mushrooms on it,
2 to 3 mushrooms.
and then the mushroom sauce as opposed to the pizza sauce. And I thought there was something else with mushroom. But so I ended up getting the regular mushroom and cheese pizza. You ended up getting just the cheese pizza,
Yeah.
cheese and basil.
Yeah. So I wasn't a huge fan of the cheese and basil. It seemed a little basil heavy. I didn't taste like pizza at that point. It tasted like a mouthful of basil. But I know I tried your mushroom, and that was pretty decent. Was it just mushroom, or did you get mushroom and pepperoni?
No, I just got mushroom. It was mushroom and cheese.
But that was pretty good. As we said, they had a bar for booze. I grabbed a cider from there, but they also have mixed drinks, and they even have like a big mixed drinks that you could share 2, 3, 1, however you wanted. And I know you also got a mug, or basically a little portable cup that we were able to bring in and get refills for like $1.50.
Yeah, to get a large, it was just a big plastic cup. But if you brought it in or brought it back, it was only $1.50 for a refill. And so it was a good size cup. So that was kind of nice. But like you said, we had gotten there. We were actually able to, I think there were 2 people in front of us. By the time we had ordered, gotten our food, and sat down, the line had actually gone down and around and was almost to the door.
So that would have been a long line. But like I said, we got there and no line really. Bar, there was no line at the bar when I got my drink either. So
that was like the same with Moran's. There was what, 2 other people there, or one other group, or 2 other groups.
Yeah, there was like only 2 other groups. So I had sent a picture to my brother. I'm like, can you imagine this at a convention? Like, we're a block away and this place isn't packed. And
I think it wasn't until we were leaving that we actually saw somebody else from the convention
that we knew was from the convention.
Yeah, because they had the lanyards. But other than that.
So then for dinner on Thursday is when we headed to North Market. And like we said, it's a nice place. It's a food court. So you ended up getting a crepe, and I ended up getting pasta from Pastaria. So it was a chicken with a fettuccine and tomato base, and they had really good bread. And I couldn't have the butter.
Yeah,
that was really good. It was like fresh garlic butter, but I don't do garlic well. I know I had fettuccine sauce, but no, the butter was like garlic butter.
Yeah, and my crepe was I ended up going with like the kind of the basic. It was chocolate, and I know there was a couple that I can't remember what else was in there, but they had savory crepes where it was like I think one was a Tuscan where it was like the tomato and the spinach and the chicken breast and all pesto sauce all wrapped up in a crepe. So I mean, it wasn't just the sweet crepes. They had, egg stuffed crepes and, breakfast stuffed crepes, things like that. Some of the other places that I did see that I thought was really cool it was a variety. Like you had Indian food, it looked like Japanese food. Wasn't there like there was Polish.
Yeah, so it's not like just all your basic fare you're used to seeing. They do have a lot of different ethnic foods and various things like that. I think when you first walk in, it's there's a butcher, and next to it is, I think it's like the boar and head or something. So they do a lot more of the meat stuff. But yeah, there's a lot. If you're looking to satisfy a bunch of different culinary abilities, that's the one to go.
Yeah, and like you said earlier, they had the fish, fresh fish, that you could get. So even if you weren't, for the convention or for an event, if you lived in the area,
Or if you had like an Airbnb, so you had access to a kitchen, you could go there and just buy the stuff and ready made.
yeah. So
And you can get alcohol.
yeah, and ice cream.
Oh yeah.
And ice cream and
We didn't get to the ice cream, but I heard that's another thing that everyone loves to do when they're there is Jenny's Splendid Ice Cream.
yes.
I will say, too, everywhere we went, outside of one person that you had to deal with at North Market, all the food staff that we dealt with, really nice, super personable, really friendly. Everyone definitely helping you out and all that. You said you had the one lady who was a little abrupt,
Yeah.
but like outside of that, you at the Great Place. But outside of that, you said the guy who actually gave you your food, really super jovial, nice.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. So I would say, and then just kind of wrapping up. Friday, we didn't really hit anywhere food because we were making sure to do everything before we went out of town. But we did end up back
Yeah.
at Mikey's.
We did end up going back to Mikey's and to get the refill for the way home. And while I was there, I had mentioned that didn't get to taste it. We were leaving, taste the Mushroom Kingdom. And we have it today. So we ended up getting to taste it. And I know you were kind of hesitant because it seemed like it was going to be a lot of mushroom with the mushroom sauce and everything. I was pleasantly surprised. It was really good.
I wasn't a fan of. I mean, I ate half of it because I needed to eat something.
Yeah.
It's definitely not something I would have got again though, because I'm missing that pizza-ness to it. I needed that pizza sauce. With this being the mushroom base, it was more earthy. So to me, it was one note, and that's kind of what I was worried about. It's like, oh, cool, I have mushrooms, and now I'm getting mushrooms. There was nothing to break it up for me personally, and that's why I didn't like it. But the cool thing about it was that, again, this is odd to me that it happened during one of these big conventions, it was happy hour. So she actually got all of that for half price.
Yeah. So I was able to get my refill on the drink instead of $1.50. It came out to, I think, 79 cents. Something like that. The pizza that normally a slice of pizza, and they're good. I mean, they're big.
They take a whole pizza and cut into like 6 slices, isn't it?
Yeah, and like one of the big extra large pizzas that normally would have been, I think, like $6, ended up being $3.
So that's what struck me about this is like outside of the parking, this is like could be a very budget friendly convention because like these food places, like I know you paid a little extra for being downtown, but like I know the places we went, we weren't paying $20 to $25 a meal. Like I think your burger was like $12 or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was like $11.99.
And I think my salad was like $13. So you're not paying these exorbitant. The pizzas like for the size slices. So it definitely was. The food was definitely good when we go again because we are planning on going again at some point. There is more places we would like to explore. This one, like I said, we were only down there for those few days. We were rushing on Friday, so we couldn't really go anywhere else. And we tried to stick around the convention center and where we parked as opposed to exploring into the city. So I think next time we're going to explore more into the city because I know there's Germantown not too far away. I know there's a lot of people who talk good about the different sausage houses and stuff.
And I know we just stuck to the one side. We pretty much came in and out of the same door the whole 3 days.
Yeah.
So there was like the old other side of
down by like Short North area. Like we never even ventured into that area. I know a little bit further away there was a Irish place I wanted to try, but we weren't about to drive there and try and find parking. Although parking shouldn't have been too bad there because you were starting to get on the outskirts.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that food is definitely somewhere that we need to explore more next time we are there.
Yes.
But so overall, to wrap it up, I would say if you are looking to try and do a bigger convention but not feeling as overwhelmed, this is definitely one. If you followed me at all 2 years ago when I did that one, you'll know I ended up leaving early because of basically anxiety, not wanting to be around the people and all that. Granted, there was less people at that time than this one. I don't know if it's because I had her with me, if I've gotten a little better, what have you. But it's still like we said, didn't feel crowded, didn't feel overwhelming, didn't feel ridiculous. There was plenty of places you could go off to where there wasn't as many people. There's a sensory room. I know
Yeah, I was
Gen
gonna
Con
say.
has it as well. But I mean, Gen Con, you can leave that sensory room for like 5 minutes and be overwhelmed.
Yeah.
But this one, besides just that sensory room, there's tons of places you could easily go to kind of take a break from the crowds.
Yeah.
It wasn't like everywhere you looked was crowds and people and everything. There was more places to kind of decompress.
Yeah.
And outside of that, like we said, being able to talk to these people, they are able to take the time to actually build the connections with you, and you aren't feeling like just a number or just a sale to them. They are doing that. A lot of, like I said, the indie developers, so you are seeing a lot of those passion projects. The food was really good there. Traffic is ridiculous.
I was going to say, they did actually, plus inside the convention, they had a couple of places to eat, and then inside the actual convention or the vendor hall, they had Jet's Pizza. They had fudge
Subway
and
booth.
candy.
Fudge and candy. There was a Subway booth.
Yeah, Subway booth. So I mean, you had the chance to get food.
So there's plenty of food options and easy to get to. So if Gen Con's gotten too big for you and ridiculous, and you're still looking for that place to go and get with people, this is a good one. If you're looking for that step before you go to Gen Con, do what Thunderworks Games does, do Origins to see how you'll do at Gen Con. Because if you can't handle Origins, you are never going to handle Gen Con until you can handle Origins. Because Gen Con is going to just be an attack on your senses.
Boom.
It's going to be where you're in the city and you're going to know Gen Con's in that city because there's going to be people everywhere you look. Columbus, there was times we were walking where I'm like, there's no one around us. Like at crosswalks, there's like 4 of us. So it is definitely one, like I said, she definitely wants to go back to. It is what are you looking for? If you're looking for that laid back, fun experience, playing games and enjoying your time, Origins. If you're looking at getting the hot new releases, getting yourself immersed in an experience with like-minded people, that's going to be Gen Con, because everywhere you go is going to be that experience.
And everywhere is going to be playing games. Everywhere is going to, hey, come join us.
Gen Con almost tries to force the experience on you. Not necessarily
in a bad way,
but it's going to force it. Origins is going to be the type of experience you make it out to be.
Yeah.
If you're going to meet up with people or if you're going to experience it at your own pace. So that's why I think I like Origins more as well. I wouldn't mind getting to Gen Con again because it is that fun experience at times, but definitely just kind of spread that one out more, whereas Origins is one I wouldn't mind going year after year because it seems like a lot of those smaller vendors do always hit that one, so you are going to be able to see those people from year to year.
Yeah. Not only that, but I as you can tell, we have matching shirt and matching dress, and I was actually asked about my dress countless times. So
not sponsored, but if you're looking for it, it is svaha.com, SVAHA.com. So if you have been watching us and being like, I wonder where that came from, that's where. All right, anything else to add, or are we wrapping this up because it's gone on a while?
Yep. I think we're good. I think we got our point across.
All right. So if you have stayed this long, comment the word rutabaga. Because that's going to be something funny if people are looking at the comments and they're going to be like, what the heck is with rutabaga? And they're going to want to know. So again, if you've made it this far, congratulations. Yay! You have heard us talk a lot, and I would like you to comment rutabaga, please.
And we also would like to thank you.
Yes.
For making it this far.
So, and as a thank you, we're going to let you know that down below is where you can comment. Also, there is a link to Miniature Market. So if you are looking at buying games, possibly some of the ones we've shown, don't know if Miniature Market has them or not, but they have a ton of games. If you use our link, we do get a portion of the sales back to the channel to help pay off our Origins trip. Because that would be appreciated. Because, yeah, I know I said we got some of these games for free, but I would say 80% of these we did buy.
Yes.
So we are going to have to try and get those paid off.
Yeah.
So, and then outside of that, if you want to just make sure you check out all the videos we make from this stuff, because there is a ton and there is stuff here for everybody.
Yep.
So with that, I am going to say goodbye and let her do the full goodbye. Which she doesn't know what the good. Haha, I got her. So, but that is our full goodbye. Is use the link, hit like, subscribe, comment, share, ringing the bell, and what are you going to comment?
Rutabaga.
All right. So we'll see you on one of our many videos coming.
Thanks for watching.